It was not an accident. It was not a fall. Someone picked up something heavy, looked Theo Silverton in the eye, or perhaps crept up behind him and deliberately struck him in the head. The pathologist's report has confirmed it. The investigation has shifted into a higher gear, and now 6 people on the cobbles are living with the knowledge that the police are coming for one of them. The question is which one? And the closer you look at every suspect on that list, the more impossible the answer becomes. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing something we have been building towards for weeks now, a complete, thorough, suspect-by-suspect breakdown of the Theo Silverton murder case, taking in everything the investigation has revealed so far, every piece of evidence that has surfaced, and every thread that is still dangling in the wind waiting to be pulled. Because this murder mystery has layers that reward close attention, and with the show dropping new developments almost daily, now feels like exactly the right moment to lay it all out. Let's start from the very beginning. The pathologist's report arrived in Monday's episode, and it confirmed what Kit Green had already refused to entertain any doubt about. Theo Silverton did not fall from that scaffolding by accident. He was struck intentionally, a deliberate blow to the head that ended his life. For DS Lisa Connorswain and Kit, this transformed what could theoretically have been treated as a tragic accident into a confirmed murder investigation. Kit's reaction to the suggestion it might have been accidental told you everything about where his instincts already were. This was never going to be filed away as misfortune. Someone on that street killed Theo, and he intends to find out who. The episode framed the investigation's opening moments with a montage that was as beautifully constructed as it was revealing. Each suspect shown in a private moment, each one carrying something. Danielle Silverton laying flowers at the site of her ex-husband's death. George Shuttleworth reading an online news article about what happened. Gary Windass watching CCTV footage of himself destroying Theo's van. Summer Spellman rereading a page of her journal, the words Theo is a monster visible in her own handwriting. And beneath all of it, Todd Grimshaw, alone in his former flat, sobbing, reliving the worst of what Theo did to him. Kit's words in that moment cut right to the bone. If someone had done to him what Theo did to Todd, he said, he might have done the exact same thing. So let's go through them. Every suspect. Every piece of evidence. Every reason to believe and every reason to doubt. George Shuttleworth loved Todd the way a father loves a son. That is not in question. What is in question is how far that love extends, and whether it extends as far as a darkened street and a fatal blow. The evidence against George arrived early and arrived hard. A jumper with blood on it, changed before anyone could notice, found by Christina and then discovered by Lisa during a visit to the funeral parlor. George was the first person arrested for Theo's murder. He was released the following day, but the arrest itself rattled the investigation and everyone around it. And then there is the walk. A walk George took on the night of Theo's death that he did not immediately volunteer when questioned. He offered no explanation that fully satisfied anyone. George is a large man with documented history of physical confrontation with Theo. He has the means, the motive, and a gap in his timeline that has never been properly filled. Gary Windass sits at the top of Kit's suspect list, and the evidence that placed him there is substantial. The sledgehammer attack on Theo's van, caught on CCTV, deleted by Gary in what he hoped was a clean sweep. The text message he sent immediately afterwards, 4 words, capitals, sent in fury, that no amount of explanation will make look innocent. The photographs taken by Sally Metcalf that place Gary at the scene of the crime on the night in question, directly contradicting the alibi that Maria Connor provided. Gary told investigators that his CCTV system deletes footage automatically after a week, a lie so carefully constructed it almost worked. Maria's alibi bought him his release. But those photographs exist. They place him there. And Kit has not forgotten. Summer Spellman is the suspect the show has been building towards most deliberately in recent weeks, and her journal is the evidence that has shifted the conversation most dramatically. The pages George and Christina discovered contained thoughts that go far beyond ordinary grief or anger. Summer wrote about holding a gun to Theo's head. Whether that was fantasy, whether it was a cathartic exercise in processing pain, or whether it was something else entirely is the question the investigation now needs to answer. Harriet Bibby has spoken about how terrified Summer is. Not necessarily because she is guilty, but because she knows how it looks, and she knows that innocent or not, the evidence stacking against her is genuinely damning. Add to that the fact that Theo killed Billy Mayhew, the adoptive father Summer adored, and the emotional fuel for something extreme was absolutely present. Christina Boyd has been operating slightly in the shadows of this investigation compared to some of the others, but that does not mean she should be dismissed. Her reaction to George's arrest was notable, a panic that seemed to go beyond ordinary concern for a partner. Was she frightened because she knew George was innocent, because she was certain someone else did it? Or was there another reason she needed him cleared? Christina watched Todd suffer. She loved George, and she saw what Theo's continued presence on that street was doing to both of them. The question of whether she stepped in and dealt with the problem herself in the most permanent way possible remains very much open. Danielle Silverton re-entered the story this week in a way that was both moving and carefully ambiguous. She sought out Todd, validated his experience, shared that she too had been controlled and diminished by Theo during their marriage. It was a generous and apparently genuine act of solidarity. But soap opera has taught us, repeatedly, that the most disarming scenes often carry the sharpest hidden edges. Danielle went through genuine hell. She was discarded for Todd, humiliated, and left carrying the wreckage of a marriage to a man the world now knows was a monster. The fury of a deeply wronged ex-spouse is one of the oldest and most credible of all dramatic motives. Her apparent warmth towards Todd could be exactly what it appears to be. Or it could be the most sophisticated performance in this entire investigation, and then there is Todd himself. This is where it gets most complicated, because Todd is the heart of this story, the person Theo hurt most profoundly, the person the audience has been rooting for throughout. His grief since Theo's death has been raw and completely uncontainable, a tangle of genuine love for the man Theo sometimes pretended to be and horror at the monster he actually was. Kit has looked at Todd's pain and wondered aloud whether that grief is the grief of a survivor or the grief of someone carrying something else on top of it. Todd was terrified of Theo in the final weeks, hunted and cornered. If he reached a point where he believed the only way to end it was to end Theo, that moment would not have come from cruelty. It would have come from desperation. And desperation, in this show, has always been the most dangerous emotion of all. The fan response to this investigation has been one of the most sustained and passionate discussions Coronation Street has generated online in years. Every episode produces new theories, new alliances behind particular suspects, new moments of certainty followed by immediate doubt. James Cartwright's comments at the BAFTAs, that it is not who viewers think it is, have only deepened the obsession. Because if the obvious candidates are misdirection, then somewhere in that list of 6 is a truth that has been hiding in plain sight. Looking ahead, the arrival of new evidence and Summer's impending interrogation will likely redirect the short-term focus of the investigation significantly. But the longer this goes on, the more pressure accumulates on everyone involved. And pressure, in Weatherfield, has a habit of producing revelations at the most unexpected moments. The truth about who killed Theo Silverton is coming. And when it arrives, it is going to mean something, not just as a plot resolution, but as a statement about what this community has been through, and what it costs to survive a monster. So there you have it, every suspect examined, every thread pulled, every reason to wonder laid out as clearly as we can manage it right now. This is one of the most compelling murder mysteries Coronation Street has ever constructed, and we will be here for every single development. Who do you think did it? Has anything in today's breakdown changed your mind? Drop your theory in the comments. The discussion there has been absolutely brilliant and we want to keep it going. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, share it with a fellow Corey fan who needs someone to theorize with, and subscribe with notifications on so you never miss an update. We will see you in the next one.